Have you ever looked into a dog's eyes and felt like you could see their entire story, the best of times, the goofy moments, the unwavering loyalty? It's all there, in the golden retriever. That story is usually one of boundless joy, a story written in wagging tails, sloppy kisses, and a love for life so pure it can't be contained. They are, for so many of us, four-legged sunshine. But what happens when that sunshine fades, when the story in their eyes is no longer one of joy, but of a quiet, forgotten sorrow? This is the story of one such dog, a beautiful soul who had lost his light, carrying a heavy, unseen burden that was slowly, silently, breaking him from the inside out. And it's the story of a few young hearts who, on a day like any other, chose to stop and read the pages of his silent pain. It began, as these stories often do, with a simple moment of noticing. On a back road where most would just drive by, a car full of young friends saw him. He wasn't just a stray dog, he was a shadow of the breed's famous joy. His shoulders were slumped, his gait was heavy and labored, and there was a heavy, weary sigh in every step he took. He wasn't running, he was just enduring. There was no fear in the dog's eyes, only exhaustion. It was as if he'd been walking for days, or maybe a lifetime, carrying a weight too heavy for one soul to bear. As the friends got closer, they noticed something strange. The dog's belly was enormous. It was swollen and taut, completely out of proportion with the rest of his tired, thin body. It looked heavy, uncomfortable, like he was carrying the world's most uncomfortable waterbed. What do you think when you see something like that? Do you assume the worst? Do you worry it's something untreatable? It's a moment of decision, isn't it? In that moment of seeing him, a connection was made. It wasn't just about the piece of bread one of the young men offered him. It was a peace offering, a message that said, "We see you, we are not a threat." And the dog, who seemed to have forgotten what kindness felt like, responded. He didn't just eat the bread, he stayed. He nudged his head softly against the young man's leg and leaned into him, a silent plea for help. His silent trust sealed the deal. There was no discussion needed. They weren't going to leave him there. He was coaxed into the back of their car, and this big, sad dog curled up in a space that was probably the safest place he'd been in a very long time. Back at their home, they gave him a name, Buddy. It just seemed to fit. He was everyone's buddy, even if he didn't know it yet. They gave him space, clean water, and a bowl of good food, which he ate with a quiet gratitude that was heartbreaking to watch. They watched him, their hearts filled with hope. Surely, with good food and rest, that swollen belly would start to go down. But it didn't. Days passed. Buddy ate well. He drank water, and he began to show tiny flickers of the golden spirit hidden inside. A soft wag of the tail here, a gentle head nudge there. He was a perfect houseguest, but his belly remained just as large, just as taut. It was a constant, worrying presence. It was like pouring water into a vessel that was already full to bursting. The hope they felt began to mix with a growing sense of dread. This was beyond their knowledge. This was not something a good meal and a soft bed could fix. What would you have done in that situation, watching this sweet animal, trying your best, but seeing the core problem remain? It's a helpless feeling. Let us know in the comments below. How many of you would have known it was time for a professional? They knew they were out of their depth. With heavy hearts, they made the decision every responsible rescuer must make. It was time to see the vet. At the clinic, Buddy was a perfect gentleman. He stood patiently on the examination table as the veterinarian, a kind-faced woman with years of experience in her eyes, began her work. She felt his swollen abdomen, her expression growing more serious. With the fur shaved away from his belly, the severity of the situation was starkly clear. His skin was stretched to its absolute limit. The vet explained that the condition was called ascites, a buildup of fluid in the abdomen, but after a few more tests, She discovered the shocking and tragic truth. It wasn't the typical fluid buildup, it was urine, Buddy's body. For some reason, perhaps a blockage or an injury they would never know the cause of wasn't able to relieve itself properly. His bladder had become a prison. For weeks, maybe even months. Every drop of water he drank had been trapped inside him, slowly poisoning him, stretching his body to an agonizing breaking point. The river of pain he was carrying was his own. There was only one thing to do: drain the fluid and give him immediate relief. As the vet carefully inserted the needle, everyone held their breath, and then it began to flow. A quiet, steady release of all the pressure, all the pain that Buddy had been carrying for so long. It was more than just a medical procedure. It felt like a ceremony. It was the physical act of letting go of a burden he could no longer carry alone. The stream kept flowing and flowing and flowing. The friends watched in stunned silence as the bucket on the floor began to fill. 1 liter, then 2. The final amount was staggering. Nearly 3 liters of fluid were drained from that poor dog's body. 3 liters of captive pain, finally set free. You could see the relief wash over him in real time. The tautness of his skin softened. The haunted, pained look in his eyes began to melt away, replaced by a soft, sleepy comfort. For the first time in a long, long time, he wasn't in pain. He was just Buddy. Buddy's recovery was nothing short of miraculous. With the physical burden gone, the true golden retriever inside was finally free to emerge. The sad, weary ghost from the roadside was gone forever, replaced by a happy, goofy, life-loving dog who now understood he was finally home. His story teaches us something profound, doesn't it? Sometimes, the most visible wounds are just symptoms of a deeper problem. Buddy's swollen belly was a physical manifestation of his unseen burdens, his loneliness, his neglect, his pain. The friends who saved him didn't just give him a home by taking him to get the help he needed. They unlocked the prison he was trapped in. They helped him let go. Sometimes, the most profound act of healing is simply helping someone or some animal let go of the pain they can no longer carry alone. If this story moved you, if your heart soared when you saw Buddy's transformation, please help us share that feeling with the world. Take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope, and please subscribe to our channel. Every single interaction helps these stories of compassion reach more eyes and more hearts, reminding us all of the difference one small act of kindness can make. Be the one who stops. Be the one who helps them let go. You never know, you might just be saving a life and unburdening a beautiful soul.